Rise in body or spirit and join me in singing our opening hymn, number 188, Come, Come, Whoever You Are. I didn't hear it.
Come, come, whoever you are, wonder, worshiper, lover of me, cause it's no care and no despair. Come yet again, come. Come, come, whoever you are, wonder, worshiper, lover of me, because it's no care and no despair. Come yet again, come.
Good morning and welcome, everyone. Good morning. My name is Petra, and I serve this congregation today as worship associate. My opening words are entitled, What We've Started, written by Betty Bobo Saden. We'll go with that, Saden, S-E-I-D-E-N. Anybody want to correct me? I'm right there. All right. We are here today because we want our religious journey to include more than one holy land, more than one vision, more than one scripture. We sing praises in many styles and in many languages. We make a joyful noise unto whomever nourishes and sustains all of life. When we look around us here today, we see the beauty of diversity. People of various sizes and shapes and heads of different colors and textures. We see an age span of several generations, if you look back in the corner. We are aware of personality differences, of differences in perspective, of ancestors who represent every continent of our world. Come, let us celebrate our diversity. Come, let us worship together. Welcome to this Unitarian Universalist sanctuary where we embrace the value of equity, declaring that every person is inherently worthy and has the right to flourish with dignity, love, and compassion. In order to achieve equity in the world, we covenant to use our time, wisdom, attention, and money to build and sustain fully accessible and inclusive communities. And now Heather is going to let us know a little bit more about what you can do specifically here.
Thank you, Petra. Oh, good morning. I am Heather Norby. I use the pronouns she and her, and I am the spiritual life director for this fantastic congregation. In order to build this community, we need love and connection, and that will lead to spiritual and ethical transformation. And since this is your community, I am inviting you to be a part of it by joining us in some of the following activities. This Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. in the sanctuary is something we call Creativity Matters. We come together and we will do some sort of creative project. No artistic skills are required. This is all about the process. So you'll be able to come on in and we'll do something that helps us relate creatively to the practice of inclusion. This Friday at 4 p.m. in the social hall is Crystal's yoga class. It's free, right, Crystal? It is free because she is in training, yes, getting certified. And so 4 p.m. in the social hall, come. Take an hour or so to relax, take a break from the world, which in fact, Friday is also the day that they're calling for the economic blackout. So what a better way to just take that break and come in and do some yoga. And then after that, I would like to have a gathering out at our fire pit. I'm going to call it the economic blackout fire. And we will gather, bring some food to share. Like, let's really make sharing a thing. Let us share food. If you have any I don't know, things that you're looking to rehome, bring it, because you never know if somebody else needs to rehome something. I know Sherry has like a Brita pitcher, for example. And a dog. Okay, okay. But let's...
You just gained a dog.
Okay, you can talk about that afterwards. And so let's get into this practice of sharing, of finding new ways to not give in to this consumerist culture that is taking over, and you know, all the dismantling of our democracy and all that stuff that's going on. Let's be together and have a fire and figure this thing out. And then on Saturday, Gail is having, this is a fundraiser, right, Gail? A scavenger hunt at Mackay Gardens in Lake Alfred. So please, this is a fundraiser for UUCL. See Gail after the service for more details, and of course, it's in the newsletter. I have put my office hours on sort of a by appointment only hiatus during this time. I've been having radiation. I'm at the end of that, and I'm really tired. And so it's just easier for me to do things by appointment instead of trying to be there all day long on Wednesday. So that's what's going on there. And for those of you that don't know, don't worry. The radiation is for preventative measures. They got the cancer out last November. We're good. And the doctor says it'll only take me about 4 to 6 weeks to get my energy back. So, all right, we'll get there. First Friday is March 7th, and the theme is Mardi Gras. And so Vaisal would like to enter this booth decoration contest. There's Vaisal. And I guess we need to pick a crew name. That's the Mardi Gras thing. I don't know that much. Mardi Gras Crew. Okay, UU Mardi Gras Crew. And we need to decorate the tent. So please, if you have the time and the energy to help Vaisal out with this, let's do it because it sounds like fun. Also, just a heads up, today's collection is a share the plate for a special UUCL fund, and today it's for the Ministerial Discretionary Fund, which I use to help people in the congregation who are struggling financially and just need a little boost to help get back on their feet. So please give generously to that. And also, the pledge drive, the annual pledge drive has begun. You will be hearing more about this, I'm sure, from our finance committee and our treasurer, Adam Hargrove, about pledging. This is how we sustain our community, mostly through your pledges. And so we only have a short time to get all of that in. I assume the pledge cards will be out there soon, yes? Pledge? Or maybe they already are. We're a little last minute and Adam's not here today, I'm sorry. Anyway, think about how much you can give and how much this community means to you. All right. And don't forget to check your newsletter for more information. You do not have an order of service today. I apologize. That's on me, but I'm just asking you to sit back, relax, and go with the flow. Thank you. Petra, let us create our sacred space by lighting our chalice. And Bella's right there.
As we light our chalice today, let us remember that as Unitarian Universalists, we draw from a rich heritage of freedom, reason, hope, and courage, one that was built on the foundations of love. As Unitarian Universalists, we know that love is the power. I did not touch the screen. Why did it do that? My hands were down here. Okay, thank you. When it happens again, I'll know to do that. We know that love is the power that binds us together. As our chalice burns brightly as a symbol of this love, may we not forget that love is an action. We are here to be accountable to one another, for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love. Bella, would you light the chalice for us today, please? Thank you, Bella. Would you all please rise now in body or spirit and let us sing together, Spirit of Life.
This is the time when I invite our young and young at heart to come on up. Hi.
I like the headband, Presley.
And that was a great landing.
You're rocking it.
I thought he was an angel, but I was wrong.
What are you, Presley? A ninja.
That sounds kind of like Angel.
Ninja, angel.
I'm sorry, I'm going to shut up.
No, it's okay.
Callie, are you coming up?
If Daddy comes.
Well, Presley, with your golden ninja headband on, what do you think about being different? What do you think?
Oh, yeah.
It's, wait a minute. What do you think about being different? I'm trying to put that karate part into a sentence. It's cool to do karate? Like, it's cool to be different because you can do karate?
In different things.
Ninja. Well, he said ninja, then he said karate. It's okay. He's different. He's combining the things. And what else?
When you're different, you can do different things
When you're different, you can do different things
than other people.
than other people. Yeah. And that is a good thing. Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm going to read you this book. It's a very colorful book called It's Okay to Be Different. I think that's funny. It's Okay to Be Different by Todd Parr. It's okay to be missing a tooth. Are you missing any teeth? Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Or 2 or 3. It's okay to need some help. Does anybody ever need help in here? Oh, yeah, everybody should be raising their hand. Yeah, it is okay to need help. It's okay to have a different nose. Well, does anybody have like the same, like a nose that's the same? We all have different different than what, right? Yes, my nose.
Than animals.
Or different than animals. Yeah, we have different noses than other kinds of animals. It's okay to be a different color. Yeah. It's okay to have no hair. Yeah, it is okay. It's okay to have big ears. It's okay to have wheels. It's okay to be small or medium or large or extra large. It's okay to wear glasses. Oh, thank goodness. It's okay to talk about your feelings. And then the lion says, purr, roar, grrr. Those are different sorts of lion feelings. Do you ever have any of those kinds of feelings? No? You don't ever want to roar? No.
Oh.
Yes. Yes. Me too. It's okay to eat macaroni and cheese in the bathtub. Who eats macaroni and cheese in the bathtub? No?
You would, but Bella
I think I'm going to try it.
It certainly is, yeah, enticing.
Yeah, I'll let you know how it goes. Yeah. It's okay to say no to bad things. What do you think about that? Yes. Okay. It's okay to come from a different place. It says, did you know I spoke alien? It's okay to be embarrassed. Has anybody ever felt embarrassed? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay to come in last. Yeah, that happens. Thank goodness, yeah. It's okay to dance by yourself.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Do you dance by yourself? All the time. Yeah. He rocks out. Yeah. It's okay to have a pet worm.
Why not?
I know. It really is okay to have a pet worm. It's okay to be proud of yourself. Yeah. Like you're proud of yourself that you know karate? Yeah, okay. It's okay to have different moms. It's okay to have different dads. It's okay to be adopted. Sure is. It's okay to have an invisible friend. Didn't you ever have an invisible friend?
No.
No? No?
Oh, we do.
Billy. Okay, Billy. All right. He's sitting here. Hey, Billy. It's okay to do something nice for someone. Oh, yeah, it's definitely okay to do something. Yeah, for sure. It's okay to lose your mittens. Yeah, now when it's freezing. It's okay to get mad. Ooh, I don't know if it's okay to smell it up like a skunk. It's okay to do something nice for yourself. Whoa.
I think those are 20 ice creams.
20 ice creams, yeah.
Looks good.
I don't know if that's nice or if that just gives you a bellyache.
No. It wouldn't give me a bellyache.
It's okay to help a squirrel collect nuts. Yeah. It's okay to have different kinds of friends. It's okay to make a wish. The variety of things it's okay to do. It's okay to be different. You, and you, and all of you are special and important just because of being who you are. And it says, love, Todd. It's okay to be different. You're reassuring your brother. It's okay to be different. Yeah. So what do you think about being different now?
It's always been okay,
It's always been okay. Yeah.
but I'm glad there's a book.
Glad there's a book to reinforce it.
Yeah.
Yeah, let us know it really is. Does it make us feel a little bit better?
I don't even think like it's just different. It's like I don't even think there's different, right? It's just everybody's just everybody.
Everybody's just everybody.
Yeah.
And we can't be the same, can we?
No, never.
No, never.
But we're all one.
Then we don't know which is which. What if they call somebody's name in school and they don't know which is which?
Right. That'd be really confusing if we all had the same name and if we were all the same and they wouldn't know who. Right. Jeez.
I think different is the normal.
Different's normal.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you. Well, okay. So today we're going to learn a new song. So go ahead and stand up. let's see. Do we have the lyrics? This is a new song, and that, we've been singing this song to like sing you out, but this one I want you to learn so that we can sing it together so that as you go out, you remember what it is you're doing in this world, okay? So this one you'll see talks about your hands. It talks about your heart. It'll talk about your feet. Yeah. And might talk about something else, but now I can't remember. That's okay. We're gonna sing this song. Oh, these arms, this mind. Yeah, your arms, your mind. Your eyes. Your eyes. Okay.
Everything?
Like all the different parts of you that can do good work.
That's a
And
lot.
make up the one of who you are.
Yeah, all the different parts make you the one. Are we ready? Mm-hmm. Okay, we've sung this before. Let's see if we remember. Yeah. All right, Isaiah, lead us. These hands will do the work. These feet will carry me. These arms will be welcoming to what these eyes can see. This mind will stay open to the possibility. And the love in this heart will set me free. These hands will do the work. These feet will carry me. These arms will be welcoming to what these eyes can see. This mind will stay open to the possibilities. And the love in this heart will set me free. Okay, ready? Go ahead, put a stone in, and we're going to sing it. And then you will go on out to Ari. These hands will do the work. These feet will carry me. These arms will be welcoming to what these eyes can see. This mind will stay open to the possibility. And the love in this heart will set me free. These hands will do the work. These feet will carry me. These arms will stay open to the possibility. These arms will stay open to the possibility. And the love in this heart will set me free. These hands will do the work. These feet will carry me. These arms will be welcoming to what these eyes can see. This mind will stay open to the possibility. And the love in this heart will set me free. That. Let's take a deep breath in. Just relax and be in this space together. And Petra will light our healing candle. Thank you. Spirit of life and love, we need courage now more than ever to speak up for the healing we need for our world. We need the courage to go against the grain of consumerism, racism, sexism, xenophobia, transphobia, and all the harmful ideologies that are becoming increasingly loud and too many voices around us. Spirit of life and love, as Unitarian Universalists, we are called to go boldly into the world, for that is how we bring about healing. Be with us. Fire us up. Give us power as we seek to find the ways to do this together. Amen. Russell Lehman wrote, "Inclusion isn't about being invited to sit at someone else's table. It's about building a new table together where each person's voice and presence matter equally." Our ritual of the sharing of joys, concerns, and sorrows embodies the belief that there is power in weaving our lives together so that we may build a better world, one that honors the experiences of all of us. In our Joys and Sorrows book, you are able to write any significant joy or sorrow occurring in your life that you would like for the congregation to know. Today, we have that Grace and Lily celebrated their 2-year wedding anniversary this week, the second of many. Yay! Congratulations. Julia is very happy to be here today, and we are very happy that you are here. And Crystal shares that her mom's cataract surgery was successful. It's good to find the joys. Thank you. So I invite you now to come forward for our ritual of joys and sorrows. You may take whichever stone or stones feels right to you and drop it in the bowl, connecting to others, feeling the power of love and the power of being together in this community. Thank you. Isaiah. Thank you, and good morning to all of those joining us on our streaming services and on Zoom. I would like to invite Tom Mead to come up to tell us, because of course, like I said, it is pledge drive season, for Tom Mead to come up and tell us why he gives to this congregation.
Hello, fellow parishioners. My name is, Tom Mead.
Tom, you need to be at the mic.
I think most of us have noticed that the offering, has noticed that the offering is adjacent to the joys and sorrows. To me, offering or pledging is not a sorrow, it is a distinct joy. Pledging is a commitment to support what we have and to birth what is next. An aspiration, in other words. Pledging is not at all new. It goes back at least as far as 3,000 years to the third book of Genesis, Leviticus. Leviticus said that people should give 1/10 of the year's crops, or earnings, to the church. Over the centuries, there were three kinds of giving. One was to the secular Lord, one was to the religious organization, and the third, every 3 years, was to the poor, or the widows, or orphans, or other people in need. There's another meaning of burden, and I said pledging is not really a burden, and it should be seen as a joy. In Old English, burden was spelled burthen, B-U-R-T-H-E-N. In other words, the issue of the womb. That is, supporting the next generation to be nurtured and guided, which is, I think, what we aspire to. In Christianity, tithing was not legally required, but it was, of course, highly encouraged. I find it a little bit unusual that in the Old Testament there are hundreds of references to supporting the church, but in the New Testament there are only 3 references to tithing. Unusual. Anyway, tithing was seen not as an obligation, but as a privilege, a showing of generosity and gratitude. And there used to be a poster here showing generosity as one of our fundamental precepts. Okay, enough history. I give you that because I was, again, curious about the history of tithing and generosity. Well, why do I personally pledge? I do it, in short, because this fellowship is my home away from home. I could, if I were a little bit wealthier, have a condo on the seashore, which would provide pleasure, but instead, I give to the congregation because it's way cheaper, and I get just as much pleasure and support more worthy goals. Lastly, pledging is a means for supporting the church and its goals, and to me, it's one avenue towards getting away from the mundane doings of the work week to something of a higher plane. And that is what we do here, and that is why I pledge.
Thank you, Tom. It's time for our sharing of abundance. So I will ask the ushers now to get our plates, to pass them around, and to remind you that this collection today is, well, half of it anyway, is going to the ministerial discretionary fund that I use to help folks out. So please give generously. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. George Orwell wrote, or at least social media attributes these words to George Orwell and his classic and prophetic book, 1984. The most terrible loneliness is not the kind that comes from being alone, but the kind that comes from being misunderstood. It's the kind of loneliness that doesn't come from silence, but from the overwhelming noise of a world that doesn't hear you. You stand in a room full of people, laugh when it's expected, speak when the moment demands it, and yet in your heart you feel invisible. You feel like the truest parts of yourself, the raw, unpolished, and beautifully complex pieces of who you are, go unnoticed, misunderstood, or even ignored. This is a different kind of ache, one that lives deep in the soul. It's not about missing someone's presence, but about missing connection, longing for the kind of bond that allows you to feel truly seen. It's not the absence of love, but the absence of recognition, of being known for all that you are, without needing to filter or edit yourself to fit into someone else's understanding. To be misunderstood is to feel disconnected. It's speaking a language no one around you understands, shouting your truth into the void, hoping someone will hear and respond. Instead, you're met with blank stares, polite nods, or worse, a misinterpretation of who you are. The world seems to focus only on the surface, skimming over your depths, while you yearn for someone to dive in and swim beside you. In these moments, you may ask yourself, you may wonder, is there something wrong with me? Or should I change to make others understand? You might be tempted to reshape yourself, to fit their expectations, to dull your edges or brighten your colors. But even then, the loneliness does not fade. Because in trying to conform, you lose pieces of yourself, slowly becoming a shadow of who you once were, a ghost of your former self. The truest ache of loneliness isn't about being alone. It's about feeling unseen, To feel truly understood by someone is to experience a connection that goes beyond words. It's when someone looks into your eyes and sees the parts of you that you've kept hidden, the scars, the dreams, the doubts, and chooses to stay. It's when someone not only hears your words, but also feels the emotions behind them. It's the moment when you realize you don't have to explain yourself. They already understand. And yet, in this deep loneliness, there is strength, the resilience of holding on to your authenticity, even when it feels invisible to others. The quiet courage of refusing to fade into the expectations of the crowd. You may feel unseen, but the essence of who you are, the light, the fire, the complexity, is still alive. It waits patiently for the right people, the right ones who will see you clearly and cherish all that you are. The beauty of being misunderstood is that it allows you to understand yourself. In the absence of connection, you learn to be your own anchor. You discover the importance of nurturing your own soul, celebrating your uniqueness and staying true to your essence. And as you grow, you embrace your full self, the world begins to shift. The right connections, the ones that see you for who you truly are, arrive when you least expect them. They see beyond the surface and into your heart. They listen not just with their ears, but with their soul. These are the connections that remind you that you were never meant to fade. You were meant to shine. So even in the depths of this terrible loneliness, hold on to your essence. Refuse to disappear. Let your light burn brightly, even if no one seems to notice right now. The people who are meant to see it, your people, will find you. And when they do, you'll realize that the weight, the ache, and the loneliness were all part of a journey to something extraordinary. To be known, truly known, is to be celebrated for your wholeness. It is the antidote to loneliness. Hold on. Shine on. You are seen, even if not by the world yet. And now, we are going to join Rising Up in Body or Spirit in hymn number 1053. It's in your blue book and possibly up here. How could anyone?
How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. Well, as I mentioned earlier, I'm currently undergoing radiation therapy for breast cancer. But like I said, don't worry, best possible scenario, we got this. But radiation therapy entails going to the cancer clinic at the same time every day, Monday through Friday, for almost an entire month. And because of that, I sit in a waiting room with other women who are there every day around the same time, waiting their turn. And so it's only natural that conversation starts between us, total strangers, around the thing we know we have in common: breast cancer and this radiation treatment that we are simultaneously grateful for and also eagerly awaiting the end of. But that conversation cannot go on every day for an entire month. In fact, 2 days is probably plenty enough time for us to talk about our particular cancer situations and what type of radiation we are having and how irritating it all is. And so the conversations flow into other topics. And it's nice to know, or nice to get to know, other women, especially when emotional and moral support is a thing one needs when going through such a disconcerting health issue. But it is 2025, and this is Polk County, and I am the youngest woman in that waiting room. So perhaps you can imagine my concerns about wandering conversations. Where will they take us when seemingly everything is politics? Want to talk about birds? I love birding. How about that bird flu? And dang, the price of eggs. Okay, maybe we should talk about the Grammy Awards. But the question is posed, why don't those women cover their bodies? And did you hear about that one star that sold her Tesla? One woman wants to talk about her Canadian neighbors and friends. You know, they might not be back next year. They can't afford it. Okay, ladies, you know, we've been together a couple weeks now and we don't even know each other's names. So good idea. Let's back up and at least find out one another's names. That's easy and certainly less controversial, right? So introductions go around the room. When finished, one of the women pointed out that all the older ladies have popular baby boomer names like Sharon and Sue and Linda. And then I chime in with my sense of humor and add that I have a very popular Gen X name, Heather. And in the midst of my giggling, Sue number 2 turned around and looked at me and very pointedly asked, "What's Gen X? What does that mean?" As if she knew but didn't appreciate my terminology. Does that mean you're more liberal? Well, yes, I am, I answered. Of course, I'm thinking that I know an unfortunate number of people in my generation who are not. And then I quickly tried to steer the conversation in a different direction, lest I say something she might find disagreeable. So my immediate reaction was one of panic, and I began to filter, avoid, edit, and then kind of babble. And I wondered, will these women focus only on the surface, skimming over my depths, while I'm yearning for someone to dive in and swim beside me while we struggle with the big waves of cancer treatment? Should I change so that I fit into this little group of older ladies here? Reshape myself so they include me? I felt more awkward than I already did being the youngest woman there. I didn't really know what direction to go in at that point. And like, getting radiation already sucks. So I pulled myself back a little from that conversation and just listened. I've worked hard over the years to see my tendency to go quiet and listen as a skill and an asset. And while that is true, also, when it becomes less of a practice and more of a way to hide, then I am invisibilizing myself. And apparently, this isn't an uncommon response. In fact, it is a response that has been studied in recent years, and there's a name for it, of course, the spiral of silence. As one study concludes, according to the spiral of silence theory, people who perceive their opinion to be the minority opinion are less likely to speak out. Indeed, expressing minority opinions can be a distressing experience and make people reluctant to share. One might also call it being conflict avoidant, and certainly real social anxieties and neurodiversities play into it. And perhaps we just do not know the most gracious way to enter a conversation with those who disagree with us. Certainly, we can shape this world in much better ways if we improve our communication skills. And we can do that without compromising our values or reshaping ourselves. Getting older and receiving cancer treatment reshapes enough of me already. Life struggles do tend to do that. Can you think about what parts of you have gotten away during times of struggle? And are you willing to lose any more of yourself out there in the world? It's not easy out there, where the values of Unitarian Universalism shape thoughts and behavior that seem to go against the grain of American culture. And so this spiral of silence study set out to assess how the need for uniqueness differed over time. Compared to respondents earlier in the survey, it started in the year 2000, those who took the survey most recently, in 2020, reported lower levels of the need for uniqueness, particularly the degree to which they are willing to publicly defend their beliefs. This all points to the possibility that individuals feel that being unique and expressing uniqueness might compromise their ability to fit in with others and lead to being ostracized. These are legitimate concerns in a culture which promotes cancellation of one another without considering the consequences of disconnection. However, having to be so hypervigilant about self-censoring and restricting opportunities to express oneself authentically have important consequences that affect the welfare of both individuals and societies. A quick disclaimer, that does not mean that we should not think before we speak to be sure our words are caring and compassionate. William Chopik, the lead author of this study, says, "Withholding who we authentically are by trying so hard to blend in can ironically backfire and lead to guilt, anxiety, and sometimes even more animosity between people. And it is true that in our silence, especially from those of us who are privileged, we are being complicit to the systems of white supremacy, patriarchy, and oppression. But we are Unitarian Universalists, and we come from a long line of courageous people who spoke up and spoke up loudly against false theologies, hatred, and oppression." I think of Michael Servetus, born in Spain in 1511, a highly intelligent human who spoke several languages, practiced medicine, and was the first European to explain the circulation of blood in the human body. Servetus also described the doctrine of the Trinity as inconceivable and having no biblical basis, stressing instead the unity of God. Servetus recognized the danger of bad theology and spoke up about how the doctrine of the Trinity did nothing more than ridicule and harm Muslims and Jews. But cancel culture in the 16th century was no joke, and Michael Servetus was not only labeled a total heretic, he was burned at the stake by Calvin's orders in 1553. His willingness to go against the grain, knowing the dangers, has left a lasting legacy. Servetus has, in modern times, been called the father of interfaith dialogue. And what's more, his theological writings inspired the founders of the first Unitarian churches in Transylvania and Poland. Courage to go against the grain can change the world in awesome ways. Against the grain, that's where I'll stay. Swimming upstream, I'll maintain against the grain. These are lyrics to the chorus of a punk rock song that's been stuck in my head since it came out 35 years ago in 1990. I bought Bad Religion's Against the Grain album on vinyl. I haven't brought it with me today as a little souvenir. And have been tossing it on my turntable ever since, or, on my phone, my playlist. Against the Grain is one of those songs that sticks with me, especially in situations when I know that my opinions, shaped by my UU values, are not shared by the majority of people I am surrounded by, and I need some courage. Punk rock music fuels my courage. Bad Religion's lead singer and songwriter is Greg Graffin. He received his PhD in zoology from the Department of Evolutionary Biology at Cornell. And now, while not touring, and yes, they are still touring, he teaches classes on evolution at Cornell for non-majors because he wants to help promote scientific thinking and consequently, perhaps, good theology for the general public. Graffin wrote, as a verse in this song, "The flow is getting stronger with small increments of time, and eddies of new ideas are increasingly hard to find. You need all that the other has, your right to seize the day, but in all your acquisitions you will soon be swept away. Against the grain, that's where I'll stay. Swimming upstream, I'll maintain against the grain." So I have to ask myself and all of you, how well are we maintaining the courageous legacy of our ancestors if we are silent or filtering and editing ourselves to avoid conflict? And if we're silent, how do new ideas centered in our UU values get out there in the world? If we're silent, how are we honoring our best and genuine, unique selves so that we are co-creating with the spirit of life, making good trouble and good change? Our loving is a miracle, born of centuries of sacrifice by our religious ancestors who chose to speak out against the grain. When we are practicing inclusion, how often do we consider that the desire to want to be included too much is harmful to ourselves, our minds, bodies, and spirits, and to the good of society? What are you sacrificing when you enter the spiral of silence? It's really important to have people willing to go against the grain, say the psychologists who conducted the study on uniqueness. And as punk rock singer Dr. Graffin wrote in 1990 and still proclaims loudly into his microphone today, here, labeled as a lunatic, sequestered and content, there, ignored and defeated by the government, there's an oriented public whose magnetic force does pull, but away from the potential of the individual. Against the grain, that's where I'll stay. As a middle-class white person and as a leader in this faith, I am learning more and more how to communicate in ways gracious enough to open up conversations to the potential of all individuals, including myself, and to try to center us more in love. It is my responsibility to use my privilege to have the tough conversations with other white people who engage in harmful rhetoric and harmful actions, sometimes blatantly and purposefully, but more often than not, just blindly and thoughtlessly. It is my responsibility to bring care and compassion to the room, to wake people up with it, not by insulting them back, but by being my unique self, which is hopefully someone admirable. Because I think my UU values are admirable and something to aspire to. Does my fear of not being included stand in the way of having these tough but very necessary conversations? I went back to radiation the next day after my liberalness was exposed and after thoughtful reflection. I readied myself to have a good conversation with the other ladies in the waiting room. I was ready to ask questions, to be firmly planted in a love that would include these other ladies, no matter who they are, because we are all in this shitty situation together. I readied myself to not reshape or filter or edit, but rather to have the courage to express my highly admirable and aspirational Unitarian Universalist values, holding on to the hope given to me by my religious ancestors, and powered by the courage of that good old-fashioned punk rock music. And then maybe I will influence these others to think in more loving ways. And you know what? I think Sue number 2 did some reflecting too. She asked questions. She was vulnerable in how she shared instead of opinionated and demeaning. And we had a nice conversation. I don't want to go to radiation any longer than I have to, but I do want to be in situations where I can joyfully express my unique self to people that I don't know through my values. It won't always work out. And no doubt there will be some people who will push me away or even say nasty things about me, like call me a heretic. But what about those times that they don't? Aren't I exposing myself to the possibility of more inclusion and more influencing of hearts than I am of being excluded? I want for us all to be at the table, building a better world together. And so that's why I'm inviting you to take action with me on Friday during the economic blackout and at Crystal's yoga class and around the fire, so that we can figure out together how to go against the grain of consumerism, how to not channel our money to the oligarchical powers that be and the destruction of our democracy. I want us to figure out how we can protect vulnerable people and the earth. I want you to think about how your unique self and the things you want to do and your spiritual beliefs and the values you center call you down to a different path. How can we detach ourselves from wanting more and instead focus our thoughts on creating more? There's a common consensus and an uncomfortable cheer, a reverberating chorus that anyone can hear. It sings, "Leave your cares behind you, just grab tenaciously. This lulling sense of purpose will destroy us rapidly." Well, this lulling sense of purpose that he sings about is consumerism. And of course, we have a purpose way beyond being consumers. So let us not get wrapped up in our wants, allowing for them to blind us, thinking that they will bring us comfort when in reality that is how the oligarchy pushes us into complacency so they can destroy us. Let us find new ways to resist together. Thank you.
Equity. We declare that every person is inherently worthy and has the right to flourish with dignity, love, and compassion. We covenant to use our time, wisdom, attention, and money to build and sustain fully accessible and inclusive communities. Our 19th century Universalist ancestor Quilin Shen wrote, "Universalism includes the little we have learned and all there is to be learned. It includes all that all men know and all that they don't know. We stand for the whole. Our system of faith must include all truth that has been discovered and all that is yet to be discovered. Hence, it is a progressive faith." The Reverend Quilin Shen worked against the grain, against those that called him a heretic. He spread the good news of universalism, that salvation exists for everyone all over the southern United States, as he planted churches of inclusion. where everyone's unique voice can be heard. And we are singing this as a congregation?
Well, Isaiah's mostly going to sing it.
Isaiah is going to, if you know the song, lead us in Against the Grain.
Yeah, no, go ahead. We have.
Okay. So before I start the song, real quick, I just want to say the revolution won't be televised. You picked the right time, but the wrong guy. Okay? All right? So there's a few things I want to touch on. At most, it'll be like 3 minutes. I swear I'll get into the song. So real quick, we can't let them get us down. We're going to go against the grain guys. Here's the thing. Some people might put us down and say, like, y'all are just liberals. Y'all don't know what you're talking about. And here's the thing. I believe in the diversity of tactics. Whether, the only thing you can do is write to your representatives or go out in the streets or do things that might put you on the watch list. Been there, done that. Here's the thing I wanted to say. She was talking about how she was in a room with other ladies and, she felt like, she could have been the minority opinion and felt like, oh, maybe I may have to filter myself to avoid, some type of conflict. But even just like words, here's the thing. Like, you go out into the world and people, they're in echo chambers. They only repeat what they hear. So imagine if you say something that's different. You don't have to be super adversarial about it. You just got to say something. And I'll just give an example. I have this coworker, and when I first met her, I didn't really like her. She told me her ex-boyfriend was a Nazi, and at first, I was really like, she thinks she's better than me, like that sort of thing. But this isn't something I would normally do, but because it ain't my job to educate her or anything like that. But I was like, what if I just, talk to her like a person and see God in her, And what I found out was, the reason why she might have been the way she was because her boyfriend was, abusive, and he was real mean to her. But anyways, over time I noticed she started her spirit started to be more mellow, and she wasn't as bigoted as before. She's starting to see things for what they are. And anyways, it's just because we're trying to give an alternative route to other people. And anyways, here's the thing too. If I can do it, y'all can do it. Y'all got an uncle or an aunt. I'm just being real. Y'all can do it. If I can do it, y'all can do it. So whatever you do to fight against the system, you just got to go against the grain. All right, guys?
All right, now let's sing about it.
So let's sing about it.
Someday I'm going to have Isaiah
Yeah.
up here preaching.
Let's
Really,
go.
I am.
1,000 miles of wilderness overcome by the flow. A lonely restitution of payment popping show. I seek 1,000 answers, I found only one or two. I maintain with it open my back again renewed. Against the grain, that's where I'll stay. Submitting upstream, I maintain against the grain. Here live lunatics sequestered and content. They're ignored and defeated by the gun.
fashion show, I'll let you know what it is, because you know I'm going. All right. Petra, let's extinguish the tones.
Would you join me, please, in extinguishing the chalice with these words as Bella extinguishes it for us? We extinguish the chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of love, or the fire of commitment. These we carry on our hearts and out into the world.
Go out into the world now. Remember to use your voice, to speak up for love, and stay working against that grain. Remember also